The Great Divide Trail traverses the continental divide in the vast wilderness of the Canadian Rockies, between Alberta and British Columbia. This is the video diary of our adventure. Day 26 was from the town of Field to a random camp on the Kawatinec Alternate, a 29-kilometer day.
Good morning. It's before 6. We're just leaving Field, getting ready for a 1,000-meter climb on the alternate on the Great Divide Trail northbound. New shoes, tummy full, rested up, ready to go.
We chose the Kawatinec Alternate. We were told it was a better alternative to the main trail. Apparently the main trail was quite overgrown. The morning started with a long, steep ascent, but all ascents have their rewards. The trails were well marked, well groomed, and eventually they opened up into beautiful views. Wow, that is some sweet view. Oh, look at those glaciers. Wow.
Another pass down, buddy. One more down.
That is so gorgeous. That was excellent.
Yeah, nice trail.
It was now almost 4 weeks on the trail, and both Crusher and myself had our trail legs. For the next hour or so, we hiked along the edge of a mountain. When we looked left, there were glaciers and a beautiful lake, and to the right was the prohibited Bridges Shale. The trails were well groomed and well marked, but they weren't always safe. With an extremely dangerous left step, we tried to keep our focus on one step at a time. The Shoe Saga update. Because of the kind hearts and the goodness of the people at Wilson Mountain Sports in Lake Louise and the people at Truffle Pigs in Fields, I was able to score a brand new pair of Solomon hiking shoes, and I've been on them now for about 20k, going up and down some gnarly stuff, and so far so good. I'm liking them. They don't have the same cushion as my old Ultras, but they do look a little tougher, and they definitely have a better lateral support for navigating around some of these nasty rocks. So that's it. Well, we reached the top of this plateau, and it's this gnarly bedrock stuff. It's beautiful, actually. There's a glacier just over there, and we were hoping for a lunch break here, but there's no shade. No shade at all, but there is water. This part of the trail can best be described as a moonscape. It's also quite close to the main road, which provide easy access to section hikers and day hikers. Most of the people we bumped into at this part of the trail had no idea what the Great Divide Trail was, and were quite surprised to see two backpackers with full gear hiking along this part of the trail. What surprises do we have over this ridge? More ridges.
At least we got a little down, and then a smaller up.
Well,
And hopefully we head down.
maybe you think the trail goes up there, right?
Yeah, see it? You can
Yeah.
see it.
So I think that maybe is the last ridge.
Yeah.
What do you think? Want to put money on that?
No, because I'm agreeing with you on this one. I think then we'll start heading down to forest.
Now, there's our path. I think it goes way up there. That's the pass. It's like 2,500 meters. It's 3:30. I don't think we're going to get there for supper. As we got closer to the Kiwetanok Pass, the hikers began to thin out until eventually we were the last two hikers that remained. Once again, we were alone on the trail. Our hiking strategy of taking a break every hour on the hour provided some often beautiful places to settle down for a 5-minute break. Once again, as we ascended to the higher altitudes, there was more snow, more difficult trails, and less maintained footpaths. But the rewards were beautiful views that very few people get the pleasure of enjoying. Still don't see the path. Oh, I think the cairn's right there. Okay, we're on the pass now. It's windy, it's beautiful, yada, yada, yada. I don't know, it's like the fourth pass we've been on today. But it is gorgeous. We're in time. So I think the down is this way. Do you see anything or?
Don't see anything right now.
Well, let's get the GPS out, maybe that'll help us. Yeah, so we think we found the way down. Yeah, I think so too. Looks like it's more over here than down there. It looks like the pitch is a little bit more reasonable. We'll confirm it with our GPS.
Right over there, and then down. We're just to the slightly to the left, but I think it's over here.
Okay.
Here, look on my GPS.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just almost on it.
Yeah, it's right
Just
there.
there. Good.
Yeah, you good?
Yeah. Okay, I can't film this while we're walking because it's too dangerous, but it's just freaking crazy. Check this out. It's this nasty moon rock, shale, loose stuff. Cutting our boots, making this trip. But we're getting down. Oh, jeez. Almost done. No death yet. This is the trail, or shall I say, somewhere out there is the trail. The GPS is giving me some direction so that we are in that over there somewhere, but we have no trail. We're bushwhacking through these rocks or through the forest. We took the alternate today rather than the main path because we were told that the main path was full of all sorts of down trees and stuff, so we'd have to bushwhack and things. So the alternate was beautiful. It was until the last little bit. So the last 3 hours we were trying to navigate through the nastiest rock, scree, whatever, and no trail whatsoever. Thank God for our GPS because it helped at least point us in the right direction. So we were hoping to hike further today, but it was 7 o'clock by the time we got to this spot here, which is actually 5 kilometers behind where we want to be. because from this point forward, it's bushwhacking in the forest. So Chris and I decided, let's have a good night's sleep, and then tomorrow morning we're going to tackle that. Day 27 was from a random camp on the Kawatinnik Alternate to a random camp on Collie Creek, a 27-kilometer day.
Good morning. A cold night last night, but it was a good sleep because we kind of needed that. We also slept in a little bit this morning, or shall I say we're sleeping in this morning because we have a bushwhack, about a 5K bushwhack. We wanted to make sure we had lots of good daylight before we ventured into the forest. Also good news is Mango showed up in our camp at around 9:30 last night. So she's going to join us for our bushwhack this morning. But there is some more good news. It looks like another beautiful day. And we're ready to go and fight the forest.
Good morning. Let the bushwhacking commence. And the team is back together, all three of us. And we see a bit of flagging, but this isn't much of a trail. With Crusher in the lead and Mango on the GPS and me huffing puffing on the rear, it's not too bad. It's not super thick, the forest anyway, but I still don't see a trail.
The trail up the mountain south of the river was flagged, no footpath, and the troubling part of this was likely the easiest part of our morning. We eventually broke out of the forest and continued south up the peak along an old river wash. Like all the other passes on this adventure we climbed, they were difficult, but they all provided great rewards.
Wow. So this is our descent. I know the camera can't give an idea how steep it is. And all the friggin' nasty rocks. Not my thing, but I can't really film this. There's what's under my feet. It's all slippery rocks. Like that. So I'm putting my camera away and I'm going.
Each step was dangerous because underfoot was loose rocks, sand, or scree.
Okay, this is the trail. Or whatever it's worth. Okay, I found a patch of snow. I think it'll be easier going down on the snow than that friggin' crazy rock. So, wish me luck. Woohoo! Woohoo! Right to the end. Yeah, baby.
As strange as it may sound, the snow descent was the easiest part of our day.
So this part of the forest has a lot of these babies. And it's helping us down the mountain. Thank you, whoever that may be.
After the gap, the forest became thicker and thicker. It was flagged, but with no footpath, it was very difficult and in fact dangerous. This is where I broke my trekking pole.
Okay, I've lost the marker again. Oh, found one. So our trail is through the woods here. Not happy with that. I guess we're getting down there somewhere.
It was around 11:30 when we spit out into the main trail. It was so refreshing. I know people talked about it being overgrown. It was, but it was still much easier and much safer than the Kwatschnak alternate. We were generally not in a rush, and we often took the opportunity to stop and enjoy the moments.
Normally I'm not a fan of road walks. We just bopped out of the forest and here it is. An old loggers road, looking easy. Loving it now, particularly after this morning, which was a brutal morning, bushwhacking and such. So bring on the easy trails.
We decided to take the Collie Creek alternate. We were told it was quite beautiful, and the main trail was essentially a longer road walk. We camped that night on a dry riverbed. With no rain in the forecast, we suspected we were safe. Day 28 was from a random camp on Collie Creek to a random camp on Howes River, a 25-kilometer day. That morning we could smell smoke in the air and we could see smoke in the skies. We suspected it was from the forest fires in central British Columbia. We followed the river for perhaps an hour looking for a safe place to cross. Eventually we picked a location and we crossed our fingers.
Okay, you may not hear us, but we are ready to cross the river there. It's the Collie Creek River. It looks kind of nasty. I suspect it'll be up to our knees, maybe our waist. Wish us all luck.
I was the first one to make the attempt, with the other two looking on with curiosity, caution, and a little bit of fear. After breaking a trekking pole yesterday, I found it extra difficult with only one trekking pole. It's always difficult to find just the right location to cross a river. If it's too wide, it makes it difficult and it can often be deep. But if it's too narrow, the river is often flowing faster and can be more dangerous. Crusher is strong and he had two trekking poles. Mango is much smaller and she only had one trekking pole. The full force of the river was banging her in the upper parts of her thigh, disrupting her balance. Although I was working the camera, I was in a position to jump in the water and save her if necessary. Although Mango is small, She is perhaps the strongest person I know, pound for pound.
Yeah.
On this part of the Collie Creek alternate, the trail crew had been in there doing some work. We were so much appreciative.
Yeah, big time, thank you. Thank you, trail crew. This is friggin' awesome. Look what they've done for us. Cut out all these nasty falls, making it accessible. Wow, that's a lot of work.
This part of the river was very fast and very dangerous for a foot crossing. There was originally a bridge there, but it had been washed out in the spring, so the trail crew came in and built a temporary one. The trail crew is amazing. We stumbled upon the bridge they're constructing. Hopefully it'll be up very soon. It's important to note that the trail crew are all volunteers, and they work with an extremely limited budget.
I think we're on the trail. So after completing that historical pass back there, which wasn't as high as we were thinking it was going to be, we're now back in the national parks, we think. But the one thing about the national parks is generally you can count on the trails being groomed a little nicer. So that I'm looking forward to.
There was much talk that Section D was the least enjoyable and the most dangerous on the GDT. However, when I got to the Howes floodplain, I was invigorated. It was absolutely gorgeous.
This is great. Whew. The floodplains. I'm liking it here. Really no defined path. Just kind of point that way. I've had 4 gear issues on this trip so far. The first one is I lost my little titanium Abbott stove, left it behind, user error. The next one is I got a giant rip in my gaiters, and so I did a field repair, not too bad, but I've since left them behind anyway because of related to issue 3. My shoes pretty much disintegrated after about 600 kilometers, so I've been able to replace those. And those shoes are now in a garbage bin somewhere in British Columbia. And the last one is I just broke a trekking pole. Man, that hurt. So one of my sweet little carbon fiber trekking poles got broken during the bushwhack section yesterday. Not pleased. But I'm actually more disappointed in the fact that I'm only trucking around with only one pole now. Anyway, if everything goes well, maybe at the next stop they might even be selling poles. Maybe I get some new ones. So, not too bad. Anyway, those are my gear issues.
It wasn't all rainbows and puppies. Sometimes the floodplain was unpassable, so was the river, so we'd have to venture into the forest and bushwhack. And not all river crossings could be avoided. We definitely got our feet wet on this leg of the adventure. We settled in that night in some random camp on the floodplains. And I can't speak for Crusher and Mango, but the water done a job at my feet, and they were looking nasty. 29 was from a random camp on Howes River to the Saskatchewan crossing, a 23-kilometer day.
Section D is kicking our butts. We are bushwhacking lots. We're fording over rivers lots. Our feet are always wet. We're always getting bashed by bushes. The good news is, probably within about 6 hours, we're going to be enjoying the rest and relaxation and the luxury Saskatchewan crossing for a half day off. Probably the first 20 minutes, we've already gone through 3 fords. Our feet are wet. No use trying to keep them dry anymore. So from this point forward, it'll be easier though, because we're just gonna stomp right through. Stomping through. Ford number 963.
Strange thing about having wet feet on the trail, I assumed that would soften up the skin and make it more prone to blisters. But what it did do was make my skin rock hard.
Okay, we're getting through. Another successful water crossing. I can't feel my feet. Okay, going in. Whoa, get deep here.
How's my hair?
Your hair looks awesome. Awesome. Very styling.
Good hair day?
Good hair day. The trail just disappeared into the river. So we are now bushwalking again through all sorts of nasty stuff here. Anyway, it is what it is. Onward, forward. Northbound it is. Like many times before, we had to return back into the forest on the uncut, unmarked trail and bushwhack. Eventually we returned to marked trails, and boy, it was such a treat. Eventually, the trail cut through the beautiful Mistaya River crossing. We eventually rolled into the Crossings Resort late in the afternoon, checked in, and picked up our resupply boxes. Hey, Mango, who's your new friend?
It's the bear.
After finding our room and checking in, I ventured off to the store looking for new trekking poles. I knew there was a slim chance there might be some here, so I looked through the store and there they were. They were entry-level basic poles, but they were in fact trekking poles. The question remains, will they last the rest of the venture, and will they hold up to the rigors of the Great Divide Trail? With trekking poles secured, Crusher, Mango, and myself went to the local buffet at the Crossings Resort. On the next episode of the Great Divide Trail Diaries.
Yeah.
Feels good.